You're dealing with a personal health crisis, desperately trying to find a specialist doctor who might have answers. Your phone rings with an unknown number. You think, maybe, just maybe, this is the call that changes everything. You answer, with hope in your voice, only to be met with a sleazy scammer who not only tries to steal your money but has the audacity to call you a bitch when you refuse. Well, that scammer just made the biggest mistake of his life. Because what he didn't know was that he was about to mess with someone who believes in a very simple philosophy: you get what you give. And brother, was he about to get it. If you've ever been disrespected by someone who thought they could walk all over you, if you've ever dreamed of serving ice-cold justice to a person who wronged you, then smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe, and buckle up for one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. Trust me, what our protagonist did to this scammer will leave you cheering. Let me paint you a picture of our protagonist. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is the kind of person who minds her own business, pays her bills on time, and treats people with basic human decency. She's been going through a rough patch lately, dealing with some health issues that have been consuming her thoughts and energy. For weeks, she's been trying to track down a specialist doctor, making call after call, leaving messages, hoping someone, anyone, might have an opening or a referral. It's during this vulnerable time in her life that our story begins. Sarah's phone has been ringing incessantly for several days, always the same unknown number, never leaving a message. Now, normally Sarah follows the golden rule of modern life. If you don't recognize the number, don't answer. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and with her medical situation weighing heavily on her mind, she can't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, this persistent caller might be related to her doctor search. The anxiety builds each time the phone rings. Could it be a specialist's office calling back? A referral? A cancellation that opened up an appointment slot? Sarah finds herself staring at her phone during these calls, torn between hope and annoyance. Not knowing is eating at her. Then comes the fateful day. Sarah's phone rings again, same number, same persistence. But this time, something inside her snaps. She needs to know. She needs to either get the help she's desperately seeking or put an end to this mystery caller once and for all. With a deep breath and a prayer that this might be good news, she swipes to answer. Hello? She says, and immediately she can hear it, that telltale background noise of a call center. The slight delay, the echo, the distant chatter of other people making similar calls. Her heart sinks, but she stays on the line. Yeah, hi there, comes a voice that immediately sets her teeth on edge. It's casual, overly familiar, with the kind of fake friendliness that screams, I want something from you. Is this Sarah Johnson? Using her full name with the confidence of someone who thinks they have every right to it. Yes, this is her, Sarah replies, already feeling her guard going up. Something about this caller's tone is rubbing her the wrong way. Great. My name's Joey, he continues, and Sarah can practically hear the smirk in his voice. I want to talk to you about a house located at 1247 Maple Street. Sarah's blood runs cold. That's her address. Her home address. This complete stranger is calling her by her full name and referencing her private residence like he has some kind of claim to it. The violation feels immediate and visceral. Now, Sarah's been around the block. She knows about these predatory house buying scams. She's seen the signs, the too good to be true offers, the high-pressure tactics. These bottom feeders target homeowners with cash offers that are always well below market value. They prey on people who might be in financial distress, elderly folks who don't know better, or anyone who might be desperate enough to fall for their garbage. And here's Joey, calling her during what might be the most stressful period of her life, using her personal information like he owns it, trying to scam her out of what is probably her most valuable asset. Sarah's patience, already worn thin by weeks of medical uncertainty and stress, finally snaps. Lose my number, she says, and she doesn't say it nicely. There's steel in her voice, the kind of tone that should make any reasonable person back down immediately. But Joey isn't reasonable. Joey is a scammer, and scammers don't respond well to being told no. Instead of apologizing, instead of respectfully Ending the call, Joey does something that crosses a line from which there's no return. He calls her a bitch. Let that sink in for a moment. This man, this complete stranger who has invaded her privacy, tried to scam her, and pestered her for days, has now escalated to verbal abuse. He's sitting in his little call center, probably surrounded by other lowlifes doing the same thing, and he thinks he can disrespect a woman simply because she won't let him steal from her. Then he hangs up. Sarah sits there for a moment, phone still in her hand, processing what just happened. The audacity. The complete and utter disrespect. Here she is, dealing with health problems, trying to navigate a difficult time in her life, and this parasite has the nerve to call her names because she won't fall for his scam. But Sarah isn't the type to just let something like this slide. Oh no. Sarah believes in consequences. She believes that people who put negative energy into the world should get that energy returned to them with interest. So she does something that Joey probably never expected. She calls back. The phone rings, and Joey answers. But here's where it gets interesting, he answers like nothing happened. Like he didn't just call a complete stranger a bitch 30 seconds ago. Like he's some kind of professional just doing his job. Hello, he says, probably expecting another potential victim on the line. This is Sarah Johnson, the woman you just called a bitch, she says, her voice steady but simmering with controlled anger. Sarah continues, how dare you call me about a scam, and when I tell you I'm not interested, you call me a bitch and hang up on me. I'm going to report you to the State Real Estate Commission. Now, you might think this would be Joey's moment of clarity. His chance to apologize, to maybe show a shred of human decency. But Joey doubles down. He calls her a bitch again and hangs up. Twice. This man has now called Sarah a bitch twice in the span of a few minutes. He's shown her exactly who he is. A disrespectful, predatory scammer who thinks he can abuse women without consequences. Well, Joey just made the biggest mistake of his life. Sarah sits there, phone in hand, and something crystallizes in her mind. This isn't just about her anymore. This is about every person Joey has probably scammed or disrespected. This is about every woman he's probably called names when they didn't comply with his schemes. This is about justice. And Sarah? Sarah is about to become Joey's worst nightmare. First, she does exactly what she promised. She files a complaint with the State Real Estate Commission. She documents everything, the calls, the language used, the scam attempt. She wants there to be an official record of Joey's behavior. But Sarah's just getting started. Because sometimes, official channels aren't enough. Sometimes, you need to get creative. Sarah has an idea. A beautifully diabolical idea. She remembers Joey's number from all those days of persistent calling. And she starts to think about all the organizations out there that are known for their enthusiasm when it comes to follow-up calls. First stop, the Church of Scientology. Now, if you know anything about Scientology, you know they're famous for their aggressive recruitment tactics. Once you're on their radar, once you've expressed even the slightest interest, they don't let go. They will call you, mail you, and show up at your door. They're relentless. Sarah goes to their website and fills out a contact form. Name, Joey. Phone number, Joey's number. And then comes the beautiful part, the reason for interest. Sarah writes, I've been working in a scammy industry and I feel I need to get back on the right path and leave this way of life. Can you imagine? Joey, who makes his living scamming people, is about to get a taste of what it feels like to be on the receiving end of persistent, unwanted contact. The irony is absolutely perfect. But Sarah's not done. Oh no, she's just getting warmed up. Next, she signs Joey up for faith ministries. These are the kinds of religious organizations that believe they can save your soul through the power of persistent phone calls and aggressive evangelism. Again, she uses the same reason, I've been working in a scammy industry and I feel I need to get back on the right path and leave this way of life. The beauty of this is that Sarah isn't lying. Joey has been working in a scammy industry. He does need to get back on the right path. She's essentially signing him up for exactly what he needs, whether he wants it or not. Then she moves on to work in pest control. Because what's more annoying than getting repeated calls about pest control services you don't need? And considering Joey's behavior, the pest control symbolism is just perfect. Next, healthcare.gov. Government bureaucracy at its finest. Joey's about to learn what it feels like to navigate the wonderful world of government healthcare calls and follow-ups. And finally, Finder, a service that specializes in helping people find better deals on everything from insurance to utilities. More calls, more follow-ups, more people wanting to talk to Joey about services he doesn't need. For each and every sign-up, Sarah makes sure to check the box that says, prefers phone calls. Because Joey clearly loves talking on the phone so much, right? Sarah sits back and imagines what Joey's life is about to become. His phone, the same phone he used to harass innocent people, is about to become his worst enemy. He's going to wake up to calls from Scientologists wanting to audit his soul. He's going to get calls from zealous faith ministers wanting to save him from his sinful ways. Pest control representatives are going to want to discuss his bug situation. Government healthcare navigators are going to want to help him find better insurance coverage. And the best part? All of these organizations are legitimate. Sarah hasn't done anything illegal or even technically wrong. She's simply connected Joey with services that might help him become a better person. After all, he clearly needs spiritual guidance, pest control, metaphorically speaking, and better healthcare options. The next few days must have been absolute hell for Joey. Imagine trying to run your scam operation when your phone is constantly ringing with legitimate organizations wanting to help you. Imagine trying to focus on your next potential victim when you're getting transferred between different Scientology departments. Picture Joey trying to explain to a persistent faith minister that he doesn't actually want salvation while simultaneously fielding calls from Orkin about his non-existent pest problem. But here's the most beautiful part of Sarah's revenge: it's educational. Every single call Joey receives is a masterclass in what it feels like to be harassed by persistent phone calls. Every time his phone rings with an unwanted solicitation, he gets to experience exactly what he's been putting his victims through. The Scientology calls are probably the most intense. These people are trained to not take no for an answer. They're going to want to meet with Joey, to assess his spiritual needs, to bring him into the fold. They're going to call back if he doesn't answer. They're going to follow up if he seems interested. They're going to be persistent, persuasive, and absolutely relentless. The faith ministry calls are going to come with their own special brand of intensity. Religious conviction combined with a desire to save souls creates a particular kind of persistent caller. They're going to want to pray with Joey, to understand his spiritual journey, to help him find redemption from his scammy industry background. And through it all, Joey's going to be getting calls about pest control, healthcare enrollment, and finding better deals on services he doesn't need. His phone, once a tool of harassment, has become a source of constant interruption and annoyance. Sarah, meanwhile, is probably having the time of her life. Every day that passes means more organizations are getting Joey's contact information. More databases are being populated with his number. More automated systems are being triggered to reach out to him. The revenge isn't just immediate, it's ongoing. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Because once you're in these systems, once you've expressed interest in these services, it's incredibly difficult to get out. Joey's going to be dealing with the consequences of his behavior for weeks, maybe months to come. And the most satisfying part? Joey probably has no idea why this is happening to him. He's probably confused, frustrated, and increasingly desperate to make the call stop. He's getting a taste of his own medicine, and it's bitter. This is what we call poetic justice. Joey chose to make his living by harassing innocent people. He chose to be disrespectful and abusive when someone stood up to him. He chose to double down on his bad behavior instead of apologizing or backing down. And now he's living in a world where his phone never stops ringing, where every call is from someone who wants something from him, where he can't escape the constant interruption and harassment that he's been dishing out to others. Sarah has created a perfect storm of karma. She's taken Joey's own tactics and turned them against him. She's made him the victim of the same kind of persistent, unwanted contact that he's been inflicting on others. And she's done it all through completely legal, legitimate channels. The beauty of this revenge is that it's not just a one-time event, it's a lifestyle change for Joey. Every morning, he wakes up to a phone that's been ringing off the hook. Every time he tries to make his scam calls, he's interrupted by someone wanting to discuss his spiritual journey, his pest control needs, or his healthcare options. Imagine Joey trying to explain to his boss why his productivity is down. "Well, sir, I keep getting calls from Scientologists and faith ministers who think I want to leave my life of crime." How do you even begin to explain that to someone? The psychological impact must be incredible. Joey went from being the predator to being the prey. He went from being in control of the phone call to being at the mercy of every organization that has his number. His tool of harassment has become his source of torment. Sometimes, the universe has a way of balancing things out. Joey thought he could disrespect and harass people without consequences. He thought he could hide behind his phone and treat people terribly because they were just voices on the other end of the line. But Sarah showed him that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences come back to you in the most unexpected and persistent ways. If this story of instant karma gave you chills, smash that like button and let me know in the comments. What's the most creative revenge you've ever heard of? Have you ever had to deal with scammers like Joey? And of course, subscribe for more stories of justice served cold. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't getting mad, it's getting even.